Hello everybody and welcome to Space Engineers. I'm going to do a different type of video today since we haven't been able to get any cooperative survival LP videos out for you with me and Jars. I decided I could show you one of the creative worlds or test worlds that I use. And just update. It's my first time running this new update, which is 1.037. So they added factions and stuff, which is really awesome. You can hack, take over blocks by like grinding out the computers, I believe, and you can copy paste and you can rotate it before loading it in, which is pretty awesome. And then looting a dead engineer is also awesome. I believe they stick around for about 5 minutes, so no more losing a bunch of items if you know, sprint up a staircase and trip and break your face. So that's good. Or Jars, murders you. But that doesn't happen very often, so. So what I've got here is, I'm not sure why I started it out there. That might have been just an update thing, or maybe I was flying out there. Who knows? But I was like drifting through space when I loaded this world, which I don't remember doing. But here we go. We're coming into where I've been messing around, and sometimes Jars comes on here and messes around with me if we're testing something, and sometimes I go into his test world and we look at, depends on what we're working on and who kind of initiated the project or whose idea kind of stuff. So there's some stuff here that you'll recognize from our world, but there'll be other stuff that we've worked on Jars's world and stuff like that that you would see there. So I've just got this big massive yellow platform going, and like I said, my dampeners on. Could turn those off. Anyway, creative mode. Oh wait, we have spectator mode. Why don't I just do that? Bonk. Oh, here I am. All right, so this is a little easier to move around, and I can move around really fast. All right, so a lot of my ship testing goes on in this world, so we'll take a look at those shortly. This guy is a work in progress. He's not done yet. Okay. I don't remember what this world started off as. I think I started with this guy. Can I copy paste him? Maybe we could check out this rotation feature. Woo! I'm not even sure if he's the finished product. So I made like a scorpion type ship a long time ago. We never built it in the world. Then I made like a big brother right here, who I think is, yeah, he's bigger than this guy. That's the smaller one. This is a bigger one. Here is that same gray one, I think, that I'd copied but made him yellow. So he's pretty cool. The only problem with being in spectator mode is I can't hop in any ships. So let's just fly around. Or we don't have to travel very far anyway, so it shouldn't be a big deal. So there we go. So this was the mini guy. Oops. Stop. This was the little guy. We could hop in him, take a look. Not much to it. Access denied. Oh, crap. I'll be right back. I think everything's not mine. Yeah, look at that ship. He's red, so I won't be able to get in him either. So I'm going to go ahead and like reset ownership to all of these ships and everything so that I can access them without having to grind out the computers. There we go. Everything's green. Beautiful. Even that military transport. Mine! It's all mine. So anyway, I'm not sure if we'll have to do that in our LP world. We'll have to see. Alright, so this guy. He's pretty slow. So he's more for aesthetics than actual functionality. And that shows in how slow he is. So again, this is the smaller guy, and he's not very fast. Got a bunch of little thrusters. I've learned that the large thrusters are what you need for speed. The small ones, you gotta add way too many of them to equal out the thrust of a large one. So usually it's best to do large, but makes it hard to do little builds like this. But if we go inside, you can kind of see the drills, but it doesn't do like a very good job. It will leave holes, or you'll have to move around. You can't just dig straight in. So it's best for just scraping across. So not very practical, but I thought it looked really cool. And then I did his big brother, so I figured why not. Let's try to make a bigger one. He's still a small ship. He's just got more drills. So he's got 4 drills on each claw instead of 2, I think. And I think that guy has 1 on his tail. And that's it. So a total of 5. This one has 4, 4, and then 2 and 2 for a total of 12. And he's got a lot more little thrusters again. I probably should have put large thrusters in. And he's running off a large generator. but he looks a bit cooler, I think, because I could do a bit more detail work with the spikes. So I think he actually might look cooler than the smaller guy. And he's probably just as slow. He might actually be faster, but not much, because he weighs more. So, oh, I'm going to crash him. And then from inside the cockpit, you can't really see much. Ooh, the shadow looks pretty awesome, though. Let's drill out our shadow. Excellent. So I don't know with this guy what's the deal. I doubt we could just drill in, but let's see how far we can get before we hit something. We might be able to drill in, and it'll just make a little funny thing. No, it looks like it's leaving a shelf that our cockpit is about to hit. So the spacing between the tail and the fangs, I guess, is probably one lower than it should have been to make that possible. Otherwise, it might have actually been possible to just fly in. Although I think it would have probably hit up here too once we got further in. So those are those guys, the mining ships. I think that's about it. Here is our prototype for that our original door, our first door, little rotation thing. I think that's, or was it? No, I think this was a prototype of possibly for the solar panels. I thought about maybe hiding them behind panels that we could open up to expose the solar panels, but it didn't really go with our plans, so we just didn't use that. This is kind of some work we were looking at for our grinder platform, at least some of the stuff I was playing around with. Again, Jars did a bunch on his as well. So just experimenting with different methods of sliding across and a grinder wall. I don't know exactly what this was testing for. I think just placement of the grinders and where we would put either go away, where we'd put like tubes and stuff like that. I don't know if that's how we did it. I don't think it is. I don't think we put those tubes. I think we had those right up against the conveyors, I think. I'm not sure. We've got our prototype solar panels thing. We were messing around with trying to figure out the spacing so that they wouldn't overlap. So you can see, ooh, that's bright. You can see right here, there's just a little bit of a shadow. So we kind of maneuvered these guys in, and we had this back row as a ship, so we could just kind of fly it around. And then when we thought it was in the right spot, we blocked it to connect it, and then that's how we figured out the spacing for our rotors. So they're like, oops. My fly right key or strafe right key is also the delete key. I wish they would allow me to change that, but I've been using strafe right as my right mouse button for a long time, and I do that in a lot of games, so I prefer not to change it. So in creative mode, I have to switch to like no hand a lot whenever I want to strafe right or do some other maneuvering. I'm not sure what this guy is. It might have just been some drill testing, just to see what kind of separation I could have around the cockpit and still remove the blocks in front of the cockpit. So I think that was testing for this guy. And yeah, I wanted to see where I could place these drills, and I think I had to do that. I couldn't have them diagonally with a space where those ones currently are, or they wouldn't drill out the center part. But like this, they will. So this guy's actually, I'm working on making a larger version of my small miner. Not sure if it'll ever get built or used, however. This is something new, which you haven't seen. So I'm just testing with the conveyors and stuff and wondering about a rotating arm. So this is just a proof of concept type of deal. Oh yeah, I wish rotors had like a control panel on them. We can access it through here. So, what do I want? Mid-joint, reverse. So that just shows I managed to get clearance so that that guy could rotate out in place. He's not really calibrated, he doesn't need to bounce around like that. Rotate around in place, and those are close enough that they will indeed lock. Oh, a welder has a control panel. Is that new? That's pretty cool. So connector, we could lock, and then it brings us, that basically connects these two up. So they're basically one unit, and you can control everything on that side of it. So this is not for anything particular, but just a test to see if this would work and where I could rotate. So I got that little gap by using a rotor. So this rotor and this rotor don't actually do anything. Well, this one does actually. Originally I wanted to try rotating it right here. However, that binds up, And I haven't tried spacing it out a little bit further to see if that would fix it. But this one actually did work, and I did that by accident. So I rotated him. He's only there to really provide the rotor gap that ends up occurring from this guy. So these two rotors kind of cancel each other out, rotor gap-wise. And that way these connectors perfectly line up instead of this guy being forward by a rotor part, whatever spacing that is. I don't think it's quite a block or even a small block. Looks kind of like half a block. So yeah, that's that. Might do something later with that idea, but nothing that I'll talk about right now. We also looked at some other sliding mechanisms for our piston wall, or our crusher wall, like wheels, to see if wheels would work, but it ended up being that it seemed like the landing gear were the way to go. Also a little drive shaft type piston thing here where the rotor will turn. I believe Jars built this. I haven't really messed around with these myself. Let's see if we could turn that on. Should be that rotor, I guess. It might be broken, or this might not be the right rotor. So it does say it's on. Oh, it's hitting that, actually, it looks like. This might not be working, so we'll leave that alone. We got our test little elevators here. So this is where I was working, trying to get the gravity gens all set up right, which is kind of a pain, because I had to switch to survival mode whenever I wanted to test it. So that's why this medical room is here. So I'd switch to go to save the game, leave, convert it over to survival, and then I'd test it. Oh, right, everything's off, I think. Yeah, a bunch of these things are off. So the trick I found with these guys is the longer you make it, obviously, the more you're going to accelerate. So the more gravity gens you're going to need at the top. So that's why we've been having kind of trouble on our LP world, because I didn't account for the height that we needed them at. I just kind of made a prototype of this height. But I should really try to figure out what is required to bring you going at like max speed, or 104 or 110, I guess it is now, back down to 0. If I could account for that, then maybe it would all work 100% of the time. So yeah, that's just pretty much it for like testing and structures. So most recently, I've been working on some fighter ships. If you watched the last episode, we built... Don't mind that. Oh, you're actually kind of cool. Let's get rid of you, so we can show. That was a test for automation. So yeah, I've been working, we used the krill, I believe, which was kind of a hybrid between this guy here that I built and this red guy here that Jars built. So we kind of took the two and kind of blended them together a bit. But I'll show you some of the other ones that I built, because some of them are actually really cool looking. They just didn't really fit with our needs, although some of these are like incomplete. Are you incomplete? Do you fly, sir? Yeah, you do fly. So this guy is pretty quick. Seems like he might need some more gyros. He's a little boxy. So the key is we wanted to make something that was easy to reproduce. Fortunately, most of the stuff that I build is kind of intricate and not really all that easy to reproduce. Oh wait, I'm flying. He doesn't have any downwards thrusters. Let's just flip upside down. Let's stop that motion. Where is it? Come on, stop yourself. Oh, let's just get back in here. There we go. So he's missing... Oh, no. Which way? Which way do I gotta go? Stop moving. Or is his dampeners off? Or are both of these things occurring? I'm panicking. I think he's stopped. No, he's still drifting a bit. We can actually see it. It's so difficult. I gotta stop this way. Maybe? Alright, you bother me. Drift off. Float away in space. I've got ships to show. Alright. So let's see. I wonder if I have like a favorite. I think one of my favorites is not him. I'm not a fan of when those thrusters kind of stick out like that, but I do like everything else about him. I like his gun set up, his front thing. He looks kind of slim. It's just these side thrusters that I couldn't really get in very nicely. So they're kind of sticking out like ears. But he too should be, assuming he has all of his parts and I don't crash into everything. Yeah, he's only got a couple thrusters underneath. What happens if I do... Oh, it just jumps me back here. If I jump back to spectator mode. So yeah, he's only got two, but he's fairly maneuverable, I think. That was one thing we did want, is just something fast. I mean, it turns out, like, we're probably still going to die a whole bunch trying to fight these guys, because their aim is just auto aim. But he's fairly quick. I think I've got it so the guns don't really kick too much. Yeah, it's kicking up a bit. You can see I'm not moving, but I'm holding down the button. So you saw that in our video, we were trying to get the center of mass equal to where our gun placement was. So it's pretty close in this one. This is one I did on that stream that one time. I was experimenting with heavy armor, see if we could make something just rugged. But the more I built it, the more thrusters I needed to add, because the heavier it got, and it ended up just looking terrible. It's just giant monstrosity. So forget that. Alright, so there's that guy. We've got some more prototype mining ships. So these are very similar to the one I built in our world. They're just slightly different. That one seems to have lost its cockpit. This one might be very similar. Looks like he's sustained some damage. I don't remember if I had a large reactor in mind. I think I did, but I think it was further in, because I don't think I had it so I could crash or hit it the back. So yeah, let's see. What else do we got for some fighter stuff? Oh, here's another drilling one. I think he's... Oh, he's a bigger one. Here I experimented with having a large cargo container for storage for all the ores, but the drills themselves hold quite a bit, so I didn't bother. Also, this guy has a ejector on the front of it, so you could... The idea was you'd be in your ship and you could go dock somewhere and you could see where your ejector was, so you could line it up wherever you needed it, and then you could turn it on and spit it out. Oops, my drills are hitting. So that was the idea with that, but I didn't like how I kind of messed with this whole business with the drills. And if the drills are that far away, I don't think they mine everything away. As I showed with that Scorpion, it will leave, I think, let's go test it. It will leave a little bit in the center, so you couldn't just drill into the asteroid. I could be wrong, so let's test. Will it work? I think not. Maybe. No. I don't think so. Not very well. Yeah, there's a piece kind of floating in my face. So if you moved around a little bit, it would be okay, but not ideal. So it looked okay, but yeah, that ejector really messed with the drill placement by having to space it out, so that didn't really work out. That's another drill. That's another drill. A lot of copy pastes or ones with subtle differences. This is how I build ships now. I just have this guy that I just kind of build off of, and I'll put like usually a landing gear like that, and then I'll build on this piece, and then when I'm ready to test it, like I'll usually have that, and I'll get a cockpit, and I'll start building it like that, and then I start building the ship, and then once I'm done and it's got all of its thrusters and gyros and stuff and it can float on its own, then I just break these away, and then I finish the front, and then when I want to build another ship, I can just start again off of that guy. And that way it doesn't mess with the center of mass too much either. If I had all this just connected or even a little bit on the ground and up, that could mess around with the center of mass a bit, I suppose. So that's why I've done that. Alright, these yellow guys are kind of cool, I think. They look cool from back here. So this guy, oh, he's the split. I don't remember what I was doing with him. I think he's too tall as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's borderline too tall. We wanted to try to keep him 5 tall for our reproduction needs. But yeah, that's that guy you can see with the landing gear and whatnot. So I just have to break that off. Is he the same thing? I think he is. I think I just copy-pasted him here. He's kind of incomplete. I didn't finish like armoring him up because I figured it wasn't going to work. So I stopped. But he does look kind of neat. He does look kind of like a cruiser. He's got some bulk to him. I think actually he looks very similar to the gray one that has the ears. See the one we flew away? Which one were you? I don't remember. Oh yeah, he's over there, I think. The one that... Oh no, he's the one that was floating away. This guy, I guess. Or the one that looked kind of like him. I think he's kind of like that, but I put a shroud or whatever you'd call it in front of that thruster, and I think I moved those thrusters in as close as they could be to each other. So with this design, because it's an odd number for the cockpit, those ones are as close as they could be with just one gap in between so that they wouldn't stick out too much. So he's kind of cool. Don't really like the thrusters on top. I typically don't like having these guys sticking out, so I would prefer to do something like that to hide that. But if we were to use him, which we won't, it's not going to happen. Or is it? No. So that already looks better to me for my preferences for ship design, at least the small ships. So the idea with all these guys is you'd access the whole entire inventory from here. So if we get rid of you, there's a conveyor. The conveyor connects to the reactor. So you could load fuel up through the guns, and then the guns as well with the ammo, and then there's one on each side. And that's all the conveyor system is. It's pretty basic, pretty simple. Can't hook up conveyors to the missiles from what I know. So those guys are manual loads and limited inventory space. And we weren't sure if we would need additional inventory space, so we didn't add any inventories. But this guy could easily be swapped out for a small cargo container, and then we could hook the gun onto that, I suppose, and that would give us 2 small cargo containers, or we could just have one on the one side, and that would probably be enough storage for extra bullets for a long, extended gunfight. But most likely these guys will blow up before they're done. What is that? We'll maybe check that out in a second. We got the blue guy who has actually got feet. If I remember how to unlock them. There we go. Oh, it's on auto lock. Auto lock. Auto wash. So I do like from the cockpit that you can see the guns. I think that's cool. Oh, they're painted different colors. That's all right. I do love the in-cockpit view. Looks really cool. I really wish they'd update the glass to match that glass, because this glass is so cool. That on that I think would be a nice touch, or maybe it would be too flashy. I don't know. He's got the missiles underneath. I think these guys have the issue of blowing up the ship, however, because they're kind of recessed back, and they are recessed back for those thrusters. But yeah, this kind of doesn't work, so I probably have to move the thrusters back. I think it works as long as you're not moving, but if you're moving at all, I think when Jars joined as a client, he flew that one and instantly blew up a copy of it trying to fire the rockets, so that doesn't really work for multiplayer. And there's this guy who's got these little corner pieces sticking out all over the place, which I like doing. It makes, I don't know if it looks any good. It gives it a little bit of character, but for reproducing, not so good. So yeah, oops, what did I want to do? What does he have? He does have large thrusters. He's got a little bit, he's got 4 up and 3 down, I guess. So he's got very little power to go down and also to stop. He's only got 2, but he's fast to maneuver around and fly. And that's all that I needed, really. The ups and downs aren't as important. You can just roll and keep shifting that way if you want to move in up or down directions. So, and then same with stopping. If you really need to stop, you just kind of turn into the turn and use your side thrusters to help you brake. So that's that. While we're in him, why don't we take a look at that drilling monstrosity? Where is it? Ooh, this guy needs more gyro too. Or I'm oversteering quite a bit. Oh yeah, look at him try to brake on his own. Alright, we'll put you right there. So he was a candidate, or just ones I was messing around with. I'd basically build one, try to think of the thing that didn't work, or I'd get to a point where the design wasn't really working for me, and then I'd try to figure out how to fix that and start all over. So there's a lot of them just incomplete. Okay, so funny thing, before they gave us the large ship drills, I was already working on a larger version of my mining guy. And I didn't get very far. I just kind of left it. There's a whole ton of conveyors, not very efficiently placed. It was more just trying to connect them all up in a pattern that I wanted to try. So I don't know if I ever did fly this thing around, or I don't think it has... Oh, maybe it has enough thrusters. I think I must have temporarily did some. So yeah, he was going to operate off of large thrusters. So these are all placed actually similar layout to my other mining ship, wherever he went. The one on our world, you know, the guy. So he's kind of got... The idea was to make him a larger version of that. Using large thrusters and more drills. And then we got this. So then I stopped that and I tried doing it for a large ship. And this guy wanted, because the cockpit's in the front, I actually wanted to give him an interior of some kind if I could. And I was working on a corridor system here. So you'd be able to run up to the cockpit and get into the cockpit from the back. And then hopefully I could have other stuff in here, access to maybe the storage or maybe in a med bay, or even put refineries inside if there was room. I'm not too sure. But it could be just a larger version of this guy, but with a lot more drills and with large drills. Alright guys, I think that's probably all I got to show you. There was some mock-up, I think, of my... or prototype of one of the large Scorpion ships. I don't think I think I just scrapped this and started another one. I'm not sure why, or what was wrong with that one, but this was me just messing around with some glass and possible large ship like cockpit type stuff. Can I get in this? It must be damaged. So I think that was just when the glass came out. I was testing with how to put them all together, all the pieces, how they fit and stuff like that. And then our logo, which I kind of came up with here, just figured I'd throw our flag colors together and make a little thing, and it seemed to do the trick. Alright guys, I don't know, you might have saw something that I didn't look at, that I didn't happen to see or didn't think was worth showing, but hope you've enjoyed this video nonetheless. So here's kind of a behind the scenes look into some of the prep work that goes into our LP world and our LP videos. So the reason there hasn't been any episodes this week is sometimes we just can't get together. So Jars is about, I think he's 8 hours ahead of me. So it typically means like we can record in his evening time, which happens to be my afternoon. So it depends how late I get home on whether we could record during the week. So we typically try to record on the weekends. Usually Saturday we'll try to pump out a couple videos for Sunday's episode and Thursday's episode. And then if we don't have time on Saturday, or if we spend a lot of, like sometimes we'll spend 6 hours playing, but only get you guys one episode, and that's because we're doing a lot of behind the scenes work and all the welding and grinding and stuff that goes on between scenes. So sometimes we don't have time to get that second episode recorded, and if that happens, we try to record it during the week if I can get home early enough, and Jars is willing to stay up a little late. We try to pump one out, yeah, on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so we can get Thursday's episode there, and then hopefully Saturday comes around and we can play again together and hopefully have time and enough ideas and execute them properly so that we can record a couple episodes to get us through the next week. So this week, however, it didn't happen. We didn't have time to record, and Jars is away for a few days. So hopefully once he gets back, we can resume. And yeah, I think the earliest one we'll have is this Thursday if we can find time to record before. Otherwise, hopefully back on track for Sunday. Alright guys, so thank you for watching as always, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Wait! Oops. Wow, I flew way too far. Trying to unmute the mic and fly and pat your belly and tap your head at the same time. It's difficult. Alright, so there's a ship. Let's turn off that and that. This guy, who I kind of just ignored. I happened to catch him while I was doing the editing and realized I didn't actually look at him. So this guy, I don't know if I actually like him. I think he has a lot of the stuff that the other guys do, except he has large thrusters going downwards. I think he's all large thrusters. That's what he is. So yeah, I made it all large thruster. This wasn't one that would be like reproducible or anything like that. Automated, at least not yet. So I was just messing around with having large thrusters in all directions. So this is kind of what I ended up coming up with. So we've got 4 going forward, and then we have just, I think, 1 in every other direction. I guess we got 2 up, 2 down, 1 left, 1 right, and 1 back. I don't think there's another back one. Yeah. But he has a very similar layout to those other ones that we were testing. I just kind of took everything from building all those, and without the restriction of making it only 5 tall, and then I came up with this guy. I don't know if I like him. Let's see where his center of mass... Ooh, there's the faction stuff. Nice. Center of mass. So yeah, I don't know how that faction stuff applies to me in jars, but we might be able to utilize it in some method. So his center of mass is kind of low, actually. So I might be able to bring that up. I don't know if I put heavy armor under here. I think I probably did. So I could remove some of it for light armor to compensate. Oops, that's not the button you were looking for. So let's see how he flies. Does he fly? Can you fly? Blah, blah, blah. I won't say that. Okay. What does he have? I think he's just got the same loadout in terms of Gatling gun and rocket launcher. He does have 2 gyros that are max. I don't know if that's needed. And a large reactor. Currently output 2.8, max output 3.5. I don't know if he manages to use up more power than he has. There's just the 1, right? I don't have 2 generators. No. Okay, so that is enough. 1 large reactor and then 11 thrusters. Anyway, okay, so he's pretty fast. Not as fast, though, because he is bigger. He's fast forward. He goes fast, yeah, forward. We're already, where are we? We're already at max speed. And then if I try braking or if I turn around, we can brake really fast because we've got those 4 large thrusters powering us. So he's good. He's reaching max speed pretty quick and we're there. But he's not as fast moving left and right because he's just got the 1. And he's also got a larger mass. So let's take a look. He's weighing 31,000 kilograms. Let's see what one of these smaller guys weighs. Ooh, he is maneuverable. I do like him as just a fighter ship, but he would get blown to hell and be a pain to repair or replace. So yeah, he's 10. So he's almost 3 times the weight, looks like. He's 12. What's this little box? 15. So yeah, between 2 and 3 times the weight, but still only has the same amount of thrusters on the sides. So ideally, I think I should have added in another large thruster if I could, although it gets tricky with placement because that thruster right there would block me from putting one right beside it. And then there's these thrusters back here that would prevent me from placing any more in this line. So we'd have to maybe elongate the ship and make it longer. But from the side, he looks kind of weird. He's not that nice to look at. He's too wrinkly with all these little dents and stuff. Sometimes it looks good, but this guy's a bit too much of a mess. He's too much chaos going on. Not enough order to give it kind of a good look. Like the bottom I feel is a little better because it's got a little bit more kind of some lines going. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to show you that too in case you saw it and were disappointed that I didn't overlook it. So there she be. Here's my fleet. My small fleet. Small ship fleet. Alright guys, take it easy.